Hello, hello, Aries. Welcome to your, oh my God, August 2019 overview reading. This is good for you if you're a sun, moon, or rising Aries. And let's see, if you want to know which decks I'm using, they're always listed in the description box. Don't forget to subscribe. Check me out on Instagram at Onyx Healing if you like these readings. I do even more content on other platforms, and I also have a podcast with all sorts of cool witchy, esoteric goodies on there as well. So in other news, I am going to lay this spread out. And while I do this, just go ahead, check in with your body, see what's going on, set your intention for what you'd like to have come up during this reading, and we will get started. All right, let's start with the truth bomb, shall we? We have the universe cannot resist authenticity. Ain't that the truth? The best way to get what you desire is to show up as your full self, your complete self, and because you are the I am sign, I don't think Aries generally has an issue doing that, but this is a reminder that you need to stay true to yourself rather than other people's expectations. That's going to be an important thing this month. Perhaps it has something to do with Leo season. And then we also have Fennec Fox. I believe that's how you pronounce it. This to me looks a lot like there's going to be some shifting underneath whatever it is that you're pursuing. So be willing to try new things or try new approaches and kind of feel things out and be willing to adapt. So that's what's coming through for this card. Just keep that in mind. Authenticity also requires you to update things as you go, because if you're outgrowing something that is no longer in affinity with you and you're still holding on to it, because at one point it did fit, that's what's going to get you into trouble, because then you're kind of falling out of alignment with yourself. So let's see what else is going on. We have expression. Your creative soul beckons you to create something tangible. Wait no longer. What you wish to make wishes you to make it. Tell us the truth with beauty. Okay, so this is all about, again, showing up, putting it out into the world, making sure that you're being as expressive as you can possibly be, and just honor the things as they come up. Whatever needs to be expressed, this is going to show up differently for each and every one of you. Now let's see what's going on. The central energy for you is the Ace of Pentacles, a new endeavor. This reads kind of like the Fool in a lot of ways, because it is about a fresh seed being planted or a new journey. But a lot of the time this has to do with career endeavors, work, anything tangible. So it's funny that that came up here as well. You're being encouraged to create something from an authentic space. Whether or not that's tangible is neither here nor there, but that's also an indication of what the Ace of Pentacles is all about as well. So just keep that in mind. If you feel like something's a good idea, August would be a great time to pursue it. That's what this is reflecting. And then we have the Two of Pentacles in the crossing position. This is a little bit too much contemplation. So if you're in a space of do I, don't I, should I, shouldn't I, that's the Two of Pentacles. It's that waiting space, the uncertainty, the hemming and hawing. And I think that if you've been in that space for a long time, we want the Two of Pentacles on occasion, right? You want to weigh your options. You want to figure out where your energy is going. All of that is important. But if you're in the space of, I don't know, for an extended period, then it's like you're kind of it's just gonna dissolve. So try to check in with yourself, check in with your body, figure out what's really calling to you, and don't be afraid of taking action. That's where a lot of people get tripped up, is like Well, what if it's the wrong step? Don't worry about making a wrong step, because you can always kind of patch things together as you go. You can always, like I said, adapt, innovate, change things along the way. So don't worry about getting locked into something, just pursue it. What's shifting out in August? We have the Emperor. So this is divine masculine, and this could be a person as well. Like maybe there was someone who was nudging you to do something or pushing you into something, that can be good or bad, right? But like this could be a supporter of some sort that is actually no longer a central piece of what it is that you're doing. That's how this is looking, because there is so much work and pentacles that are on the table here, as well as creative expression and authenticity. Because of all of that, I'm getting that you're kind of coming into your own. Even if you had someone who was supporting you, mentoring you, guiding you, there can be a lot of that, or even like a teacher or a practitioner or something. And it seems like you're kind of starting to reintegrate everything that you've learned, and you're kind of weaving it back in for yourself. And then the oncoming energy, we have the Five of Wands, problem solving. This is a natural part of what you're doing. So every time you initiate or try something new, or step into that more authentic version of yourself in present time, there's going to be friction. It's going to be scary. It's going to be uncomfortable. That's what the Five of Wands is. It's the discomfort in the friction, but that's also where the progress is made. That's how you're able to work out the bugs. And if you ignore this, or if you don't want any of the discomfort, then you're also not going to make progress. So this is about friction and problem solving being what the oncoming energy is, so that you can actually expand into whatever it is you're working on. And that's going to show up a lot of different ways. This isn't career for everybody, but it's the fresh start, the new beginning. Now let's look at what's going on in like your conscious pursuits. We have the Queen of Swords. I think there's a deep desire to just do your own thing and be your own inspiration is kind of what's coming up here with this Queen of Swords. Let me clarify this. The Moon. So it's interesting, because the Queen of Swords has all the information. The Queen of Swords is the energy of, nope, I've got it. I can take care of it myself. But I think that might actually be kind of confusing, or that might pose a few other frustrations. Or the main point with this combo is for you to remember that it's okay if you kind of waver in between wanting to do everything yourself and also wanting support, because there's a little bit of gumminess up here. It's like, yes, you're consciously just wanting to manage everything on your own, and then there's also a part where it's like, I don't know, is this working? So there's somewhat of a discrepancy here. So just keep that in mind. You might actually need to recruit help. So don't sacrifice expansion just because you want to do something yourself. And also, try to watch your ego. That's definitely coming up here, because the Queen of Swords can have quite an ego about just being overly independent to the point where it can kind of blow up. All right, then this is what's going on in the subconscious. We have the Hermit, contemplation. This is like things are getting really, really quiet. This can also have to do with you really shutting out other people's input, thoughts, opinions, which is good. Keeping all of that nice and clear and not allowing that to determine or dictate the direction that you're moving. That's awesome. It's just about finding the balance. Finding the balance between like helpful feedback and also not allowing someone to totally just derail what you're doing. So it really is about that balance. I'm also, because the Hermit is in here, it's like there's not a lot of turmoil or anything coming up in the subconscious, which means you're free and clear to pursue things. Mercury retrograde is over. Everything is smoothing out in August, and so that means it's going to be a great time for you to pursue, get things done, make things happen, and kind of lean into whatever friction or problem solving needs to take place. Like, this is the time to do it. And it's going to be way more of an action-oriented month if you make it so. You can sit on your hands. You guys know I say that a lot, but it looks like this is a good month to take action. What you need to know, or advice for you, we have the Two of Chalices. This goes back to connection. Watch that ego around doing everything yourself or being able to handle everything. It's like, yes, I'm sure you can, but there's also a great deal of value in delegating, asking for help. So don't forget that that tool is available to you in whatever capacity you're needing it. And also, I would say divine support, divine help, not just human beings, but also anything else that you like to lean on. Sometimes if you're really strapped or you don't have that big of a community, sometimes God's it, you know. So don't rule that out. It's something that you want to use. It's a tool that's there for you. And then this is the external influences in your life. We have the Six of Pentacles. So this is about reciprocity and kind of reaping the benefits of any favors that you've done in the past. I would say this is a good month to focus on that and do that, because people are going to be more open and willing to share with you or give you certain favors in return, or it just seems like a good asset that you have. So remember that sharing and the reciprocation of energy is very, very useful in the month of August. So that would be, this is just a good time. Call in your favors if you need it, because connection does seem to be super important for you in August. And then this is hopes and fears for you. We have Temperance. This is kind of a bittersweet card in this position, only because I'm seeing this as, for you, there's probably a big desire for things to move really quickly, but also a desire for balance as well. So it's kind of like, the fear is complacency, and the hope is also things being smooth. So it is that push and pull once again of, well, I want rapid success, but I also want things to be nice and relaxed and easy flowing. So just understand that you might feel a little bit of a tug of war with those energies, but just set your intention for what you'd like to experience regarding balance, and that's going to have an easier time manifesting. Just don't forget, you have to ask. And then the outcome of August, we have the Page of Wands. So this is evaluation. I'm not surprised, because you have the oncoming energy as the Five of Wands, and then the Page of Wands pops up as evaluation. So it's like, yes, all of the endeavors that you start pursuing, or whatever it is that you're kind of hitting the reset button on in August, you're going to need to evaluate once September rolls around. So that's about combing through all of the fine details. You know, you're going to shift into Virgo season by the end of the month, and then moving into September, that evaluation is going to be important. And then to clarify the Page of Wands, we have the Hierophant, boundaries, structure, order. And I think that's what you're going to wake up to. So you're going to go from like, okay, let me just throw caution to the wind, see what happens, take action. And then as you continue moving, I think there's a deep need for discipline in order for it to become sustainable. So keep that in mind. Discipline is kind of the key to success around this. Now let's get into the timeline, first, second, third, and fourth quarter of August. So they're about a week-ish, give or take. So let's see what's going on at the beginning of the month. We have the Hermit. So I think it's like there's a lot of information that's stirring, but it's not fully woken up quite yet. So that you're going to ease into August. It's going to be a slow start and the energy is going to ramp up. I'm already seeing it. So card number 2, quarter 2, we have the Devil. This is about confronting the part of yourself that either lacks consistency, or maybe there's a vice or a belief that's getting in your way and holding you back a little bit, because that's what the Devil represents. It's the behaviors and the actions that you're taking that are not serving you, that are actually repressing you somehow, some way, shape, or form. And so this can be mental, it can be behavioral, it can be anything that's not contributing to you moving forward. So I think that's where you're addressing this, and this is an important section to figure out. We all have little self-sabotaging behaviors. I mean, they're always there. So it's about working through them, becoming more conscious of them, and then figuring out what to do with that energy. That's like the last process, or the last step in that process is just, okay, well, now that I know what's really going on, how do I work with it rather than letting it run me? Quarter 3, we have the 5 of Cups. So it's interesting because I think there's a lot of stuff that isn't working, or that you're going through like a trial and error period with whatever you're pursuing. Maybe you're hunting for a job, maybe you're dating, maybe it's just about like your daily habits and routines that you're trying to hammer out the details on. But you kind of want to take whatever isn't working for you. Don't try to fit something that doesn't work into your life. If it's not for you, it's not for you. There's no reason to like force or try to contort yourself into something that is not authentic to you or isn't true for you. So the 5 of Cups is just reflecting that back and saying, hey, you know, it's okay if you aren't fully on board with certain things. Don't bully yourself for having certain things not fit. Just take the information and adjust accordingly. Wrapping up the month, we have the Fool. Once you evaluate and set boundaries around certain things, or maybe you come into agreement with yourself about, okay, this is our new direction, or this is what we actually want to do this time, or this is how we're going to make this different for ourselves. You know, that's the type of stuff that comes up with the Fool, in the sense that it's just about checking in and pivoting where necessary. So I think that the more action you take in August, the clearer things are going to get. So that's your best approach. If you don't do anything, you're not going to be able to get that feedback on the right direction, the best direction for you, you know, all of that stuff. Now let's do a 3-card pick. So you're welcome to ask a question, ask for guidance, ask for clarity, whatever you need. Pick as few or as many as you'd like. If you need more time, pause the video. But card number 1, we have the Ace of Pentacles. Once again, that first step, that first thing that you plant is going to be the most important thing. It looks like everything is kind of centered around that initial action that's being taken. The Ace of Pentacles is also like there's a lot of prosperity to be had, but the key to doing that is to actually nurture the seed that you plant. If you try something once and you initiate, but then you aren't sustaining it, then it's not going to grow. It's not going to expand. It's just going to fizzle out. So don't forget, you need to be consistent with your effort. Card number 2, we have the 3 of Cups. Again, this is like going back to community, friendship, calling on the relationships that you can really depend on. That's going to be an important part for you, is just connect, connect, connect. No matter what your goal is, because remember, this is going to be a good strategy if you're looking for partnership, if you're looking for career moves, if you're looking for a new home, like whatever it is that you're after, whatever you're trying to call in, you're going to want to focus on connections, friendships, community, that's going to be the place to go. And then card number 3, we have Judgment. Make a decision and stick to it. The thing is, if you keep changing your mind about what it is that you want, then it's gonna delay things. I don't mean that in a bad way. You can take your time in making a decision, but don't make half-assed decisions. You're gonna wanna just fully commit to something, stick to it, and see it through. The Judgment card, because I'm also looking at this clock right here, and it reminds me of, in terms of manifestation, anything like that, and we're constantly in a space of manifestation, right? Whether we're actively doing it or not, is that if you were to go to a restaurant and then order something and then call the waiter back and say, you know what, actually I changed my mind. And then they go put in your order and you call them back and you're like, you know what, I changed my mind. It's the same thing with manifestation. You're going to delay things if you keep going back on what you want. So it's best to if you're in an unknown, if you don't know, figure that out first. And then you can start moving forward. Maybe you were manifesting something and you're starting to shift what it is that you want. Those things are okay. But remember, don't ask for things that aren't fully thought out or aren't fully developed, if that makes sense. So just decide, commit to it, stick to it. Thank you so much for joining me today, everybody. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, subscribing, following me on Instagram at Onyx Healing. Don't forget, if you would like to check out the meditations that I offer, if you'd like to sharpen your intuition, I have some stuff on that as well. Don't forget to check out the podcast. The link is in the description box. And as always, if you would like to work with me one-on-one, you know that I'm always available to work with you. We can do some healing, some energetic work, all that good stuff. So check that out, and I will talk to you next time. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.